From the world headquarters of Fox News, it's the Kelly File with Megyn Kelly.
Well, we showed you the breaking news at the top of the hour. Almost 5 million Americans now kicked off of their insurance. And Gallup polling shows 1 in 5, just 1 in 5 of the uninsured seems interested in signing up. Late today, a new Pew Research poll revealing a dramatic 14-point drop in the president's approval rating in just the last 11 months. It is now at just 41%. Look where it was. Wow. Joining me now is Charles Krauthammer, Fox News contributor and a syndicated columnist and author of the best-selling book, Things That Matter. It's now #2 on the New York Times bestseller list and #1 on Amazon. #1. It's a good position to be in, Charles. Congrats on that.
Thank you.
All right, so let's talk about this because he's plummeting. Now 41% job approval rating, and that, I mean, he had no choice last night but to come out and offer whatever you want to call it, the apology, the non-apology. Your thoughts on it?
Well, it wasn't an apology. He basically said, I regret that there are people who are upset by the fact that they can't keep their insurance. What he didn't say is I told an untruth, a deliberate untruth, because we now know that at the time he knew that there would be a lot of Americans who would lose their health insurance. He said that in a meeting with Republicans in, I think it was in 2010, the video actually, which we saw earlier tonight on Special Report, where he was saying the CBO has estimated some people are going to lose their insurance, but they're going to end up with a better insurance. In fact, that's not what the CBO had said. It was what it turned out is that a lot of people would lose insurance because they did not meet the requirements that these experts in Washington had imposed, including stuff that a lot of people obviously never need or don't need, substance abuse and maternity if you're in your 60s. So what's happening now is what was predictable, but not only predictable, but intended. Obamacare could only work. The only way they could say it's not going to cost the government a penny is if it was some set of insured Americans subsidizing others. And the only way to get that subsidy, and it would be a hidden subsidy, would be if you toss people out of their own insurance, you put them on the exchanges, you force them to get stuff in their plan that they have no need for, so you get them to overpay, and that excess is used as a way to subsidize others. That was the whole scheme. It wasn't a mistake. It wasn't as if Obama is saying, now, well, we didn't draw the legislation cleanly. That was the intent. This is exactly how it's happening, and Americans don't like it.
And now to come out and suggest, well, Kathleen Sebelius says, well, we don't have a specific plan yet for how to help those who've been dropped from their insurance. They seem to be floating this trial balloon in an article that appeared in the Huffington Post today talking about how they are considering possible new subsidies for those who are shopping on the insurance exchanges that would not have actually qualified for subsidies under the law as it was written. So now they're going to start supplementing or subsidizing people who are buying insurance that they don't want in the first place.
It's the reflexive response of a liberal in trouble. Spend more money that the government doesn't have, that we'll have to get from China. And it's for stuff that the people who are going to be subsidized never wanted in the first place. It's actually quite insane.
What choice does he have now, Charles? I mean, can he sit back, watch the individual market collapse without doing something meaningful?
Well, I'm sure they're up in the White House right now, desperately trying to find a way out of the cul-de-sac. The problem is in their arrogance. Instead of discreetly, they decided they would use it as a way to redo 1/6 of the American economy and to take control of the national health system. And that's what they wanted to do. They did it with tens of thousands of pages of regulation. What they didn't understand, and a child could have understood this, is that once you start to write the regulations and to alter every aspect of an incredibly complicated ecosystem, which is American health care, each of these regulations would have an unintended effect on others in a kind of a cascade where there would be no way to predict how it would happen. So you rebuild a system by ideas, numbers you pull out of a hat, and then you throw it into regulation and imagine you're going to come out with a new system. Well, once one part of it begins to fail, everything else does. And now that we're seeing that the website's not working, people can't enter, What we have is the ultimate irony, a plan that was designed to allow the uninsured to get insurance is in fact throwing people with insurance into a state of uninsurance. It's the exact opposite, and it's exactly what you'd expect with a central kind of planning. You know, that was tried in the Soviet era, and it never worked for steel and concrete. It's not going to work in Obamacare.
And now the man who has been charged with fixing the website comes out and says it remains a long way from where it needs to be, and there are doubts about whether it really will be fully functional by the end of this month, as it was supposed to be under the fixed version. Charles, thanks for being here.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Coming up, terrorists murdered 4 Americans in Benghazi more than 14 months ago. And Monday, congressional investigators get their first chance to speak to the only men who know exactly what happened that night, at least the only CIA operatives that we know of. One of those investigators who will get this chance joins us next on what could be an important turn in this investigation. And as the president makes a new push for immigration reform, we have got some exclusive video